First off, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. That's the name of the Heavenly Father, and the name of His only begotten Son, our Savior, who people ignorantly call Christ, right? So, boom, the day of the Feast of the Blowing of the Trumpets is actually tonight at sundown, right? So we entered in the 7th month of the year. On the first day of the 7th month, we got the blowing of the trumpets. 10 days after that, we got the feast of the Day of Atonement, and then right after that, we got the Feast of the Tabernacles, right? So boom, we got the Tabernacles, we got the Day of Atonement, and we got the blowing of the trumpets, like at the beginning of the year, right? We got the Passover, then we got the first fruits, and then when the end of the year come, you got the trumpets, the tabernacles, the atonement, and then the feast of dedication, right? So we enter in that time of the year, right? And we got these, this is part of commandments. So this is part that you have to do when you come into the truth. The first thing you do might be, you stop eating pork, or you start wearing you some fringes or whatever. But sooner or later, right, through the naturalization of you growing in this truth, right, the Most High giving you the increase through that naturalization process, you're gonna start doing more commandments. So then, you girls, you start putting on your dresses. The dudes, we since we are the leaders, right, we gotta spearhead, keeping the commandments and the big things with the order, right? So we gotta be the ones that's captaining those things that we trying to get done, because we still are in captivity. We can't do none of these feast days right. We can't do none of these feast days the correct way that was written out in the scriptures. But what we are doing is rehearsing the righteous acts. So I'm gonna start at that, right? So give me a Judges 5 and 11 once you let that person in. Judges chapter 5, verse 11. Judges chapter 5, verse 11. Because again, we can't keep these holy days the way it is outlined in the scriptures, because Passover, the Feast of Pentecost, which is first fruits, of the Feast of Weeks, the Feast of Tabernacles, the Day of Atonement. You got to go back to the kingdom. You got to go back to the temple in order for those things. And it's not a temple everywhere, right? So actually, let me get the book of Exodus 25 and 8 first. Let me get Exodus 25 and 8, because we're supposed to go back to the temple for these 25 and 8. We're supposed to go back to the temple for these high holy days. But since there's no standing temple, so this gonna prove that. It's Exodus 25 and 8, and it says, "Let them make me a sanctuary." Go back up one verse, Exodus 25 and 7. Okay, onyx stones, the stones that be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. So these are instructions that the Most High given Moses of the temple, right? And it says, "And let them make me a sanctuary," that's the temple, "that I may dwell among them." So there's no sanctuary anywhere. It's one sanctuary that the Most High set up, right? And the temple was in that place, right? So that sanctuary is that temple. Well, we ain't got no temple, standing temple right now. So that's when we go to Judges chapter 5, verse 11. Go to Judges 5 and 11. So since we ain't got no standing temple, there's no way for us to physically do a lot of these high holy days. But in the land of our captivities, we got Judges 5 and 11. "They that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the place of drawing waters, there they shall rehearse the righteous acts of Yahweh the Lord." even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of the village Israel in Israel, then shall the people of Yahweh go down into the gates. So we are not in the land and we can't keep it, but that's not a good enough reason not to rehearse the righteous acts. So we're in rehearsal. It ain't like the play is going on for real or the actual show that we because basically this is the a movie or about the Most High, and we just characters in it. But at this playtime, we're not in the land where we're doing it for real, so we're in rehearsal. So if you get a lead a role in a play, right? You got to go to rehearsal. Yeah, practice the whole play over and over and over again till you get it down correct. So that's what we're doing right now. We're rehearsing the righteous acts, right? Now let's go to Leviticus 23 to read about the Day of Atonement and the Feast of Tabernacles real quick. Leviticus 23, we finna start at 24. All right. So as I said again, sundown tonight is the Feast of Tabernacles, right? I'm sorry, the blowing of the trumpet, right? Now, I got this shofar, right? Or ram's horn, right? Got this ram's horn you blow in, and that's the blowing of the trumpets. And the trumpets are meant to warn Israel, right? Whether it's to come together. Well, anytime you hear the horn, it means to come together, right? Holy communication. It means to come together with other Israelites, right? When you hear that horn, that's a sign for you to get with other Israelites, right? So this is Leviticus 23 and 24. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing the trumpets, a holy communication. So communication means coming together. So this is a holy coming together, right? And the 7th day or the first day of the 7th month, right? And that's tonight. Verse 25, ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. So we got to offer offering made by fire unto the Lord, right? Usually customarily, we was in the land, and you would give the sacrifice to the Levites, and they would commit the sacrifice. We're outside the land. You can give a burnt offering if you want, but we are the burnt offering. So we are the people presenting our body as living sacrifices right now. Boom. Verse 26. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, so that's the Feast of Blowing the Trumpets. Tonight, if you got a trumpet or a ram's horn, you blow it. If you can, if you got one. If not, turn on your TV, find some other Israelites keeping the blowing of the trumpets, and make that your getting together with them. But somehow, some way, you got to keep this feast day best as you can. Verse 26. And the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, in the 10th day of the 7th month, right? So this 10 days after tomorrow, which will be the 3rd at sundown, the 3rd of October at sundown. So on tonight at sundown, the blowing of the trumpets. 10 days later, which is October the 3rd at sundown, verse 26, on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you. And ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, right? So I'm going to keep going. And ye shall do no work in the same day, for it is the day of atonement to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whatever soul it be that should not be afflicted in that same day, it shall be come out from among his people. So now, if you don't celebrate this day of atonement, and actually, let's look up this word atonement. You got a blue letter on your phone. No, yeah, there we go. Blue letter. And in the blue letter, we're going to Leviticus. We'll go to Leviticus chapter 23 of the Old Testament. Leviticus chapter 23. And scroll down to verse, I think, 26. No, 27. All right, click on 27. Go to interlinear. Scroll down to the word atonement. So let's see what this Day of Atonement is. What does atonement mean? It's H3725. No, go back. Click the verse again, verse 27, interlinear. Scroll down. Don't click the word atonement. Click the H3725. Click that. No, clicks out of that. Click the actual, not, there you go. There you go. Right? So this is the word atonement, right? And I want you to see the root word etymology, right? Because the word means atonement, but let's click on that root from what word it comes from. So what word it derives from, that H3722. So could you click on that? Right there at the, not the, that word, go down like 3 spots and you see root word etymology. That word, right? And this is the root word, quar, right? Go down. So the word atonement means to cover, right? To cover your sins, to purge, right? To make an atonement, to make reconciliation, to cover, right? To cover over, to atone for a sin, to make atonement, to cover over, to atone for a sin, to be covered, right? So that's what the word atonement means. It means to make reconciliation, to purge out sins, to cover your sins, right? Because those sins have to be covered by the Most High. Now let's go back to the regular Bible. Get out the blue letter. And we finna start at 27 again. So the word atone means to purge or to make reconciliation or to cover, right? So this is Leviticus 23:7. Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord Yahweh. Ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before Yahweh your God. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, that soul will I destroy from among his people. Verse 31. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwelling. And it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest. And ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at evening. From even to evening, you shall celebrate your Sabbath. So, right? So from evening to evening is how we celebrate our Sabbaths and all our days, from evening to evening. But on the 9th day at even, which is the 10th day of the month, you got to celebrate the Day of Atonement. You cannot eat nothing. You can't drink nothing. You got to afflict your souls to atone for your sins for the past year. Because no one in this captivity can say that they didn't sin this past year, even if you was keeping all the law, statutes, commandments, right? You got pork and candles, right? You got pork in some toothpastes. You got pork in dishwashing liquid and laundry detergent, right? So Esau, being the devil he is, and his crafty counsel, he done put stuff in all kind of stuff that we have no idea what it is. A match, right? A match got pork in it. Stuff that ain't even edible, right? Stuff that you have nothing to do. Chicken, raw chicken. In England and the UK, they were putting pork enzymes. They inject the chicken with a water solution to make it fatter. Well, they found out that the water solution had pork enzymes in them. So even in raw chicken, there's pork sometimes. So there's no way. It said we was gonna be eating defiled food among the Gentiles. So there's no way in this captivity that you are following all the laws completely without blame, right? So that's why the Day of Atonement is needed to cover you, to make reconciliations for the things that you did know you did, or even some of the things you didn't know you did, right? So you can't eat pursuant to verse Verse 31. No. Even to even. Verse no, not 31. Can you scroll up? No, you want to go down a little bit. Okay. Let me just read it again. Okay, and the 10th day of the 7th month shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation. That's Israelites getting together. You shall afflict your souls and make an offering made unto the fire by unto the Lord. And you shall do no work that same day, so no work, for it's the day of atonement, making atonement before Yahweh that your God. And whatsoever soul shall not be afflicted that same day shall be cut off from among his people. Whatever soul it be that doeth work the same day will I destroy. That same soul will I destroy from among his people. Okay, scroll up a little bit. No, no. I meant like the other way. Scroll down, I mean. Boom. Okay. No manner of work. It shall be a statute for throughout your generations in all your dwellings. So this is forever, right? And it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest. You shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even to even it shall be your Sabbaths, right? Give me a second. I got to find another verse. Okay, let's go to Leviticus chapter 25. Hold on. No. Boom, boom. Give me 1 second. That is 23:37. Okay. I'm gonna just keep going. I can't find the verse, but I'm just gonna keep going, right? So, but make a long story short, this is the time of the year where the second set of feast days are finna start going on, right? And I just want to go through a couple of scriptures to understand why we doing this, right? So if you go to Deuteronomy chapter 30, you go to Deuteronomy chapter 30, start at 1. Well, I really want verse 11. But I'm going to start at 1 because when we start waking up, this is how we get up out of here. It said, it shall come to pass that all these things come upon thee, the blessings and the curses that I will set before thee. Thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations where the Lord thy God has driven thee. So that's just what happened. We calling all these things to mind, all these laws, statutes, commandments that we done broke in the land of our captivity. We gonna call them to mind and come back to them and start keeping them. Verse 2, and shall return unto the Lord thy God and shall obey his voice according to all I command thee this day. So Leviticus 23 is a commandment, right? thou and thy children. So not just you, your kids got to do it too, with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn that captivity and have compassion on thee and return and gather thee from all the nations where the Lord thy God has scattered thee. So then when we start keeping these commandments, that's when we're going to get gathered. That's how we get up out of here. Go roll down to verse 11. That's the reason I came to the chapter. Verse 11, and it reads, for this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. So we ain't gotta go through no special training and go to no one special person to get this understanding. If you want this understanding on how to keep the holy days and how to come back to the Most High, is there for you. You got people all on street corners. You got people all over TikTok, all over YouTube. I'm on Zoom, right, and on YouTube. So you got Israelites on all corners, on all the highways and all the byways, trying to get you this information if you want it. So it's not far off from you. It's not somewhere that you can't obtain it, right? So verse 11 again. For this commandment which I command you this day is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. It's not far from you, right? And now to go to Romans 8 and 18. Romans chapter 8, verse 18. All right, so this is what we doing all this for, right? Because we got told that we was gonna go through these things and we was gonna have to, because in order to get to what we was promised, we got to go through some things, right? But Romans 8 and 18, for I reckon that the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us, right? So what we promised and what we promised to get, what we got to go through right now, and how we got to come back and go through all this, it ain't gonna be comparable to what we promised, right? What we gonna inherit, right? And actually, I got another verse that say that. I got go to Second Ezra chapter 7, verse 1. I'm gonna read down from 1 through 14. Now, keep in mind, Romans 8 and 18 just said you can't even compare what we going through right now to what we gonna get. Second Ezra 7, we finna start at 1. Right. So it says, and when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent to me an angel, which had been sent to me in the nights afore. And he said to me, up, Ezra, and hear the words that I come to tell thee. So the angel told him, get up, listen. And I said, speak on, my God. Then said he to me, the sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great, right? But put the case of the entrance where narrow and like a river. So the entrance to this place and to this city got a narrow entrance, right? And it's on a river. Then, who then can go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come unto the board? So in order to get to this place, you gotta go through this narrow passage. Scroll up. That's fine. There is also one thing, a city is builded and is set up. There is also one thing, a city is builded and is set up on a broad field, and it's full of all good things. That's what this city is set on, a broad field full of all good things, right? Land of milk and honey. Verse 7, the entrance therefore is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if it were fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water. So now you got this beautiful city, land flowing with milk and honey. Then in order to get to the city, you got this narrow passage. On one side is deep waters. On the other side is flames of fire. Verse 8. And one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. So this entrance is so narrow, people can't go on it all together. You got to go on it one by one. Drop it. I need a precept, right? We finna come right back here. Go to First Peter 3:20. Keep in mind, you can only go one by one. First Peter 3:20. I think this is the verse. First Peter 3:20. It says, Shabbat Shalom, Auntie. First Peter 3:20. Actually, give me Second Philippians 2:12. That's the one verse I need. So I just went over because tonight at sundown is the Feast of Blowing the Trumpets, right? A shofar or a ram's horn is blown at the Feast of Blowing the Trumpets. And when Israel heard that trumpet, that is known to have a congregation or come together with other Israelites, right? So if you ain't in a predicament to come together with other Israelites at the blowing of the trumpets tonight, turn on YouTube, somebody going live, come together like that, right, in the comment section. However, but tonight is the Feast of Blowing the Trumpets. We're rehearsing the righteous acts, so we got to find some way of keeping that, right? And it's a communication day, so you need to come together with other Israelites, whether it be in spirit or in actual come together with them physically, right? Second Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. Now we was just reading in Second Ezra, right? That the entrance was so narrow that you can only get in one by one, right? So boom, the Second Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more my absence. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, right? So working out your own salvation. Why? Because nobody can get you in, nobody can get you out. The kingdom of heaven and entrance is so thin that you can't go as a group. You got to go one by one. Now let's go back to Second Ezra chapter 7. And we was like at verse 3, I believe. So now we got to keep these commandments. One of these commandments happened tonight, right? The memorial blowing the trumpets, right? You got to keep that commandment best as you can, right? So, and that is a commandment just like the rest of them. So when you come into the truth, you stop eating pork, you go on throwing your friend, that's like a starter pack. But through the naturalization of you being in this truth, naturally you're gonna start keeping more and more and more commandments, right? And this is where you get to this point where you start keeping the holy days, right? But Second Ezra chapter 7, chapter 7. Second Ezra chapter 7, I believe verse 3. No. We're at, let's pick it back up at 6, right? There's also one thing, a city builded and set up on a broad field, and is full of good things. And the entrance thereof is narrow and set on a dangerous place to fall. So you got this big city, but it got a dangerous entrance, right? A dangerous place set to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, on the left, a deep water. So now you got this big city full of milk and honey. You got this narrow entrance, right? One side is fire, one side deep water. And on one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be one man that go there at once, so one at a time. And if this city now were given unto the man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the dangerous set before it, how shall he receive his inheritance? So we are that proverbial man, right? We got this city, right? That's our inheritance. But we got to go through this narrow entrance to get to that city. And if that city is our inheritance, the only way we can get to that city is to go by the narrow passage. There ain't no way that you finna leapfrog over or disregard this interest and still get the city, right? Verse 10. And I said, it is so, Lord. And I said, it is so, Lord. Then he said to me, even so also is Israel's portion, because their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was the decree that now is done. Then were the entrance of the world made narrow, full of sorrows and travail. But they are few. They are but few and evil, full of pearls and very painful. For the entrance of the elders' world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. Right. So that's the elders' world. But now, afterwards, we got this world where it's narrow. Verse 14. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, does not enter these straight and vain things, how can never receive those that are laid up for them? So that thin entrance that we go through, you got turmoil, you got heartbreak, you got pain on that entrance, right? But you got to go through that in order to get to the city, which is your inheritance, right? So you got to go through it to get to it. There's no way that you're going to get the promises of the Most High without doing what he said, going through it. Now, the Most High didn't say we ain't going to suffer nothing. That is not a promise he made to us. But he did promise that if we did endure to the end, that we was going to get a reward, right? So you got to go through it to get to it. I need the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15. By book of Joshua, chapter 24 and 15, and it reads, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in the lands in ye dwell. So chose you this day who you gonna serve. You gonna serve the gods of Jesus and the church, or you gonna serve the gods that your forefathers, your fathers served, right? But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord Yahweh. So the Feast of the Feast of Tabernacles is coming up, right? The Day of Atonement, it's 10 days after tonight, right? So you got tonight, you got the Feast of Blowing the Trumpets, somehow, some way, try to get together in spirit or in physical with some of your brothers and sisters, right? And how to try to celebrate that feast of memorial blowing the trumpets. 10 days after that, which is the 3rd of October, you have the Day of Atonement. The Day of Atonement, you cannot eat or drink for 24 hours. You have to afflict your soul, because the Day of Atonement, let's go back to that word atonement. Go back to the blue letter. Blue letter, right? And just go back twice so I can start with the beginning of the word, because this is the root word. One more. Bam. So this is the verse. It says, on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. Hold on, scroll back up. I was reading right there. It shall the day of atonement, it shall be a holy convocation unto you. You shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. That's Leviticus 23 and 27. Let's go down to that word atonement. So the day of atonement, right? It's H3725, right? And the word simply means to atone, right? But there's a root word, right? The root word, the etymology for the root word. So click on that. H3722. And it's kapar, right? And then go down. The root word for the word atone means to, well, the root word is the actual word is atonement. This word is atone, right? But make a long story short, Shabbat Shalom. So the word for atone means to cover or to purge or to make a reconciliation, to cover, to atone for sins, to cover, to make an atonement. What kind? So the word atone means to make reconciliation or to purge out sins or to cover. Because for the last 12 months, we've been in this captivity, and no matter how much somebody think they followed the law, statutes, commandments to the T, I'm pretty sure that you may do, because first of all, you're supposed to go back to Passover, you're supposed to go back to the temple. You can't do that, right? Then it's pork and candles, it's pork and dish detergent, it's pork and laundry detergent, right? Matchsticks. So with all this thing with Esau, and the Bible already told us we was gonna eat defiled bread when he scattered us among the Gentiles. So you trying to keep the laws 100% correctly in this captivity is going to be almost impossible, and that's why you need the Day of Atonement, right? So tonight you got the memorial blowing the trumpets, right? If you got a ram's horn, blow it, right? If you don't got a ram's horn, try to tune it to somebody that got a ram's horn and have them blow it for you, right? And Israel, when you hear that horn blow, that's a sign for you to come together with your people, right? Actually, go to Zephaniah 2:1, right? So when you hear that horn blow, this is what it means. Zephaniah 2:1, not Zechariah, Zephaniah 2:1. Nothing to read 1 and 2, right? This Zephaniah 2:1, it says, "Gather yourselves together, yea, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired, before the decree goes forth, before the day passes as a chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you." So before that day, you need to find some way to gather yourselves together with other Israelites of like mind. Go to Amos chapter 3, verse 3. Amos 3:3, it reads, right? How can two walk together except they be agreed, right? So you got to come together, but you got to come together with some like-minded people, right? Because you ain't trying to be having petty disagreements about doctrine or understandings, right? It's just easier to come together with somebody that you agree upon. And the Most High, when Yahushua come back, they're gonna iron out all the kinks and all the wrinkles. Anything that ain't right, they're gonna get it done. Or overall, the doctrine has to be the same, right? We are the Israelites, Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans of indigenous descent. We are Israelites, right? We got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. We all agree that, right? You got to keep the faith in Yahushua, who people ignorantly call Jesus Christ. That is a must, right? There's no getting around those principle things. Our doctrines are based on it, right? And if you come across somebody and they don't have that understanding that you have, it'll be best if you don't try to force convocation with them, because it's just easier to just come together with people that agree. And then you can, if you got all these camps out here and you got all these teachers out here, find a teacher or a camp that bears witness with your spirit. Now, don't find a camp that try to justify your wickedness. If you think this is the truth and you try to find a teacher that, you know what I'm saying? If it's in the Bible, if you don't agree with it, then it's most likely ain't for you, because we got to agree with every page in this book. We don't agree with some, we eat the whole roll, right? So this ain't trying to get teachers for your itchy ears, right? No. What I'm saying is get teachers that bear witness with the truth that you learned from the beginning, right? And then you shouldn't go wrong, because your doctrine shouldn't be switching every 2-3 months, right? Your doctrine shouldn't be changing every 6 months, right? The Bible says a double-minded man is unstable as many waters, right? You got to be 10 toes down. You got to be solidified. You got to be sturdy in this truth. Can't be going to and fro. What's the verse? I got a verse for that. To and fro, many doctrines. 1 second. And then I'm finna touch on some Negro only stuff, but the main point was talking about the memorial blowing the trumpets, which is tonight at sundown, and then 10 days later, or 9 days at evening, which is October 3rd, is the Day of Atonement. The Day of Atonement, which is October 3rd, there's no eating, there's no drinking for 24 hours, right? You got to make atonement for your sins for the whole year, right? So, to and fro. Okay, Ephesians 4:14. Go there. So this is the point I was trying to make as far as to agree. Go to Ephesians, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 14. And it reads, Ephesians 4:14, and it reads, that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about every wind of doctrine, right? So you don't want to be this person, right? You come into the truth and you carry to and fro by every wind of doctrine. This week your doctrine is this. Next month your doctrine is this. 2 weeks ago your doctrine was this. You don't need to be there, right? It says that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about every wind of doctrine. So just like the wind blow, and it can change directions. The wind don't let you know when it's changing directions, right? It ain't got no arrows pointing to where it's going and where it's coming from, right? You don't want to be like that in its truth with all these doctrines, and your doctrines change depending on which way the wind blow, right? By the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie and wait to deceive, right? But speaking the truth in love, and may grow up in him all things, which is the head, even Christ. So the things that you've been taught, let those things, what the Bible say, Pontius Pilate did the water and the Most High did the increase. Let those things that you've been taught from the beginning, let those things increase in you. Don't throw it away and go to something else. No, let those things increase in you, right? And that was the point I wanted to make. So that was the gist of it. Anybody got a question before I go into a couple of other points that I wanted to touch on? No. All right, Auntie, this might be your part. I'm gonna go into a couple Old Testament only things, right? If you want to chime in, be my guest, right? It's probably help the dialogue a little bit better as far as the Old Testament only things go. So first off, I would like to go to and this class ain't gonna be a long one because I really I just wanted to come in and tell everybody, well, when I post it up, everybody it's gonna be the Day of Atonement and the Feast of the Memorial of Blowing the Trumpets. Y'all need to get ready. There's no reason why no Israelites shouldn't be celebrating these holy days. Even if you just came in, try to get these holy days under your belt, right? It ain't only gonna do nothing but help you. It's following the law, statutes, commandments, and we all know that's how we get up out of here, right? I just wanted to touch on a couple things. I wanted to touch on Daniel chapter 9, Isaiah chapter 53. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's go to Daniel 9, and then I touch on Isaiah 53. Go to Daniel chapter 9, verse 24. So you got these doctrines. Speaking about doctrines, right? You got these doctrine that the New Testament is pagan. The New Testament, excuse me, the New Testament is false, it's pagan. Who we call Yahweh, right? He's a made-up deity, right? All we need is the Most High, right? Even though the person who we call Yahweh was prophesied to already come in the Old Testament, which they believe in. So usually we stay in the Old Testament and kill them in the Old Testament. We don't even have to go to the New Testament. We will stay in the Old Testament and show them that we know the Old Testament better than them. That's right. So we're going to start at Daniel chapter 9. I'm going to start at verse 24, right? I'm gonna need you to pull up a calculator in a second, right? But I'm gonna read it through first time, right? And then I'm gonna break it down. It says, now, this Daniel chapter 9, if you go to verse 25, you see a Messiah is in a verse 25. And verse 26, there's a Messiah. These people claim there is no Messiah. There is no Christ, right? There's no Hamashiach. That's what Messiah means, Mashiach, right? And Yahushua is a Ha-Mashiach. He's a high Messiah or high priest, right? So boom. This is Daniel chapter 9, verse 24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people. Real quick, pull up a calculator real quick so I can get an understanding of this prophecy. This is a prophecy, right? So if you could pull up a calculator for me, greatly appreciated. Now, it's 70 weeks, so type in 70. And a week has 7 days. Every day is for a year. I'm gonna get a precept of another prophecy in the Bible happening the same way, so we won't be be ignorant to that. So 70 times 7. 7 weeks times 70 weeks, 490 years. So this prophecy is 490 years. Now, let me go to another prophecy before we pick back up in Daniel 9. I'm going to go to another prophecy in Ezekiel, I believe, day for a year. I'm going to go to the 430-year prophecy, right? Go to Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 6. Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 6. Go with the 5, verse 5. Okay. So can you scroll up to 1? Let me see what 1. I'll start at 4. Okay. This is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 4. And it says, lie thou also upon thy left side, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it, according to the number of days that thou shalt lay upon it shall bear their iniquity. For I have laid upon thee the years of their iniquity, according to the number of days, 390 days, and it shall thou bear the iniquity of the house of Israel. This time about this captivity, actually, because a lot of Israelites believe the 400-year captivity in Genesis is this captivity, and it's not. That 400-year captivity was in Egypt. The 430-year captivity that's right here, this is actually the American captivity. Both kingdoms, as you see, Judah get laid up for a set amount of days, and then Israel get laid up for certain. But it's both kingdoms. But verse 5, verse 6, I mean, and when thou hast accomplished them, lie again on the right side. So he laid on his left side. Now he got to lie on his right side. And thou shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah 40 days. I have appointed thee each day for a year. So he laid on 390 days on one side. That's 390 years. Then he laid 40 years on the other side. That's 40 years. 390 plus 40 is 430. Each day for a year. So that's 430 years. Now let's go back to Daniel chapter 9, verse 24. So this prophecy is 7 weeks, right? 9 to 24. 7 weeks are determined upon our people. 70 weeks is roughly a year and a half. And when I read this, I'm going to show you why this prophecy is a day for a year, and it couldn't be a day for a day, right? Well, let me read it, and I'm just going to go to it. Daniel 9 and 24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people. So this prophecy is for 70 weeks upon thy people and upon thy holy city. So the whole prophecy got to deal with the people and the holy city, right? And then 70 weeks is from the beginning to the end of the prophecy. To make a finish of transgression. So in this 70 weeks, transgression is going to be finished. So when we ask Old Testament Israelites, who is this Messiah? Keep in mind, this Messiah got to finish transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision of prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. So in these 70 weeks in this prophecy, now this prophecy is getting written by Daniel. Daniel is in the he was at the end of the Babylonian captivity, at the beginning of the Persian captivity, right? So the Persian king threw Daniel inside the lion's den, right? So boom, Daniel is writing this in the Persian slavery, right? 70 weeks in this Persian slavery would be roughly a year and a half.
So why he's in a Persian slavery, if this is a regular 70 weeks in a year and a half in this Persian slavery, finish the transgression, make an end of sin, to make a reconciliation for iniquity, to bring everlasting righteousness, to seal a vision of prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. That didn't happen in the Persian slavery. So this is not a year and a half prophecy. That goes to the point of this being a day for a year. And that will make this a prophecy dealing with 490 years, right? Now, let's use that understanding. So in the 490 years from him writing this, all this stuff is going to happen. Finish transgression, make an end of sins, right? Now let's keep going. Verse 25. Now therefore, Shabbat Shalom, sis. Right? So this 490-year prophecy, right? Verse 25. Know therefore, and understand, Shabbat Shalom, sis. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. So now we got a start date on this prophecy, right? So we got a start date. The start date is from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to rebuild Jerusalem unto the Messiah. The Messiah is the end date. Shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks. Go back to the calculator. Gonna give y'all a whole breakdown. Clear that out. Now it says it should be 7 weeks, 62 weeks, right? 3 scores, a score is 20 years. So 3 scores 60 years. So per 60. So 3 scores, but it was 7 weeks. So 3 scores plus 7 weeks is 67 weeks. So plus 7. And 2 weeks, so plus 2. That's 69. So the whole prophecy is 70 weeks. But it said in the 69th week, the Messiah is going to be there, right? Okay, push equal a day for a year. Multiply that by 7, right? Because these weeks, 483 years. Now let's go back to Daniel chapter 9. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to start at 24 again, so y'all have complete understanding. 70 weeks or 490 years, that's the prophecy, or determined upon thy people and upon the holy city. So in 490 years, all this stuff is going to happen to us in our city. To make a finish a transgression, right? So whoever is finna come finna finish transgression in this time frame. Make an end of sin. So whoever's finna come in this time frame finna end sins. And to make a reconciliation for iniquity, they finna do that. To bring everlasting righteousness, he finna do that. To seal up the vision of prophecy and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to rebuild Jerusalem, that happened in 444 BC. That's when we was in a Persian captivity. King Cyrus, the king that came after him is King Darius, and the king that came after him is King Artaxerxes. All those 3 kings gave a decree. So Cyrus, the first king, gave a decree to build the temple. That's when we went back to the kingdom and built the temple. Go to Ezra chapter, I'm going to prove that real quick. Ezra chapter, in the Old Testament, Ezra, E-Z-R-A. Ezra chapter, go to Ezra 4:1. Let me see if I can find a better verse than Ezra 4:1. Okay. 1 second. 4:1 makes my point up, but I want to see if I can find it. Okay, I'm gonna read Ezra. Go to Ezra 1:1, then I'm gonna read 4:1. Just go over Ezra 1:1. So I'm gonna prove that King Cyrus and all them, they gave the decree to build the temple. That's the start day of the prophecy. But and this prophecy kills Old Testament only because it's a prophecy about Yahushua coming. So this is Ezra 1:1. In the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, right? This is our slavery. That's the king. We in the Persian slavery, King Cyrus is the king. In the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah may be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, and made a proclamation throughout all its kingdoms to put it in writing and saying, thus saith Cyrus, the king of Persia, the Lord of heaven have given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he have charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah, right? Who is there among you of all the people? This is to us, right? Shabbat Shalom, sister. So verse 3. Who is there among you of all the people? His God will be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord, Yahweh, God of Israel. He is the God which is in Jerusalem. Now go to Ezra 4:1. Now it says, now then the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captive builded the temple of the Lord in Lord thy God in Israel, because only the southern kingdom was there, right? But I made my point. Let's go back to Daniel chapter 9, verse 24. And if anybody, the sister that just joined, I don't know if I ever talked, but if you just came into the truth, or if you want a truth breakdown to learn you're an Israelite, let me know, and I have that for you real quick. I'll get that for you real quick. Right now, I'm doing a breakdown of if you ain't that verse, this is an Old Testament only cut, right? Daniel 9 cuts somebody that don't believe in Yahushua, that don't believe in your Messiah, because the Messiah is prophesied to come in a prophecy, right? So that's what I'm dealing with right now. So verse 25, it says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem, that's the beginning. That's when Cyrus said rebuild the Jerusalem, right? And rebuild the temple unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks.
Mute, sis.
Oh. Okay.
Sierra, can you mute up, please? Thank you. So boom. So where we at? So boom, right? So the start day is building a temple. The end day is when the Messiah here shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks. That's 69 weeks. 3 scores. A score is 20 years. So 3 scores is 60 years, right? 7 weeks, so that's 67 plus 2 is 69, right? And the street shall be built again, even in troublous times. So that's the temple being destroyed. Verse 26. So now we got a Messiah in the Old Testament, right? Verse 25, we got a Messiah in the Old Testament. They said the Messiah is made up. It ain't no real Messiah. The New Testament ain't real. That's what they say with her go Messiah in the Old Testament, prophesied being to come. Verse 26. And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off. Now we got the Messiah dying in the Old Testament. So we got who people call Christ prophesied to come, then him being killed, right? And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. Now that's a prophecy. He didn't even get killed for himself. Ain't the prophecy say he got killed for our sins, right? So if he got killed for our sins, he'll go a prophecy saying in the Old Testament, him getting killed for our sins because he didn't die for himself, right? So after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, the Messiah dead, but not for himself. He didn't die for his own sins. And the people of the prince, now this the people of the prince is somebody else. This Titus Vespasian, right? This actually a white Roman ruler, but let's see what he did. And the people of the prince shall come and destroy the city. This the city being destroyed in 70 AD. This is a prophecy about the temple being built, the second temple, because the first temple we done had 2 temples so far. The third temple ain't coming to the kingdom of heaven. So the first temple got built by Solomon, King David's son. When we went into slavery to the Babylonians, they destroyed it, right? Them Africans destroyed our temple, right? That's the first temple being destroyed. Then we just read in Ezra, that's the second temple being built. When King Cyrus told them to go build the temple, that's the second temple being built. This prophecy we reading is talking about the second temple being, that's the start date, the second temple being built. Then the Messiah gonna come, then he gonna get killed, and then the second temple gonna be destroyed. And then that's where we at now. That's why we can't go to Passover, to the land for Passover. We ain't got, everybody ain't got the money to go there. First off, then it ain't even a temple to go to because they destroyed it. But this whole thing is about the Messiah and the temple coming and being destroyed, right? So let me finish it up, right? Verse 26, and after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. That's Yahweh Shai, who people call Christ, him being killed, not for himself. And the people of the prince, right? The Romans shall come and they shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Now that's 70 AD. The Roman Jewish wars, them running us out of our land, destroying the temple. And the end thereof shall be with the flood, and the end of the war desolation are determined. Verse 27, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifices and the oblation to cease. Because the sacrifices only happen in one spot. You can't do sacrifices in your backyard, on your balcony. The sacrifices happen at the temple. But if the temple were destroyed, then the sacrifices cease. So one more time. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. And the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and the determinant shall be poured out upon the desolation. So we're going to Old Testament, a prophecy about who people call Christ. So if somebody tell you he made up, how he made up, and he in the Old Testament too, right? Now go to Proverbs. What is it? What is his name? What is his son's name? 1 second. Actually, you can go to Isaiah chapter 53. That's my next point. We're going to store that one. Actually, go to Proverbs 30:4 real quick. Let me read this. So we all Israelites, y'all. Y'all come across somebody. And they tell you that you ain't got to believe in the New Testament or you know what I'm saying, Christ ain't real. You get away from them. And that's what you call an antichrist, right? This Proverbs 30:4. It says, who have ascended up into heaven? Who went up into heaven or descended? Who done came down, right? Who have gathered the winds in his fist? Who have bound the waters in his garment? Who have established all the ends of the earth? It's the Old Testament. What is his name? What is his son's name, if thou can tell us, right? So here go the Son and the Father in the Old Testament. Don't let nobody tell you that he ain't real, right? That's what you call an antichrist, a devil, a deceiver, right? Now let's go to Isaiah 53. Let's go to another prophecy about Yahweh Shai in the Old Testament. Actually, let me go to Deuteronomy 18:18. Then I'm finna go to Deuteronomy 18:18. Then I'm finna go to Jeremiah. Isaiah chapter 53. So this Deuteronomy 8, go up to 17, I believe. 17. Yeah. And the Lord, I just thought at 18, I will raise them up a prophet, right? So this is a prophecy, right? Most High telling us he gonna raise us up a prophet. This is talking about Yahweh Shai, but this is all the way back in the Torah. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, right? So he gonna raise us up a prophet and he gonna be just like us. And I will put my words in his mouth. This is why when you see the red letters in the New Testament, that is we don't treat it like all these other words, because Christ didn't speak his words. You remember when Christ, he was coming, he said, I ain't come to do my will, but the will of my Father, he who sent me. When those words, when them red letters come out, those are the words of God. Just like when you see thus saith the Lord, those two things are the same, because both of those are the Most High speaking. So again, I raised them up a prophet from among their brethren. So he's an Israelite, like unto thee, he's just like us. and I will put my words in his mouth. So Christ ain't speaking his own words, he's speaking the words of God. And he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass, future prophecy, that whosoever will not hearken, whoever don't want to listen, unto the words which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of them. So if you don't listen to Yahushua, the Most High, that's basically a sin. The Most High coming for you, right? But the prophet which shall presume, to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. But if thou shalt say in thy heart, how might as well read it. And if thou shalt say in thy heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord have not spoken? So he's saying, I'm gonna send you somebody, and I'm gonna put my words in him. He gonna speak my words. And if somebody come up and they ain't speaking my words and they call themselves a prophet, he said, I'm gonna kill him. Now we asking, how we gonna know who a prophet or not, right? How we gonna know? We Israelite, how we gonna know who the prophets and who ain't the prophets? Verse 22. And when a prophet speak in the name of the Lord Yahweh, if the thing followeth not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord have not spoken, but the prophet which have spoken presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid of him. So basically, a prophet speaks prophecy. So if a prophet says a prophecy and that prophecy ain't come to pass and you can't see a prophecy about it coming past in the Bible, he's a false prophet, right? Get away from him or her, right? And that's how you handle that. So there go another prophecy about Yahushua coming from among his brethren, speaking the words of Yahweh, right? Now let's go to Isaiah 53. And this one a lot more clear. This one like straight to the point. Isaiah 53, we're starting at 1. Now there go another prophecy about who people ignorantly call Christ, right? Jesus Christ, right? This is Isaiah 53 and 1. Who have believed our report, and who is the arm of the Lord revealed, right? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He had no form of comeliness, and when we shall see him, there shall no beauty should be desired in him. So it's saying Yahushua was not like a pretty boy. So people weren't following him just because they thought he was the man, and he looked nice, he was pleasing to the eye. People weren't following him because of that. Verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief. As we hid it, as it were, our faces from him, he was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he have borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. So he carried our sins, right? It's keep going. But he was wounded for our transgressions. Who this talking about? Now, this ain't the New Testament, right? This is an Old Testament talking about. He was wounded for our transgressions. You got some Old Testament Israelites say, oh, you can't die for somebody else's sins. Well, you know, it's prophesied that he was going to die for our sins. See, a lot of them don't know. They don't eat the whole roll, so they make incomplete statements, right? Or they make matter-of-fact statements that's not true. You know, if you say something as a matter of fact, you better make sure it's correct, right? And they be making these matter-of-fact statements, and then they didn't take into account the other scriptures, right? But he was wounded for our transgression. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes are we healed. So with him being beat up and killed, we are healed, right? Verse 6. All we like sheep have gone astray. That's why the Bible compares us to sheep and not goats, right? Goats will wake up and they'll try to kill themselves, run their head into a wall, right? A sheep is gentle, right? But a sheep, they listen to the shepherd or their master, but sheep are easily gone astray. If they don't hear their shepherd's voice, they start walking off, wandering off, right? They easy to go astray. That's us, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's our hard-headed, our people, right? We don't want to listen. Soon as we ain't hearing the word of God, we go back to doing what we want to do, right? That's us. We them sheep, right? But when them sheep hear their master's voice, right? You remember Yahushua said, my sheep hear my voice. When we hear that master's voice, we come running back, right? We them sheep. Verse 6. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and the Lord have laid on him the iniquity of us all. So here go this. Don't let the Old Testament tell you. Old Testament only tell you, oh, you can't die for nobody's sins, and you could. The Bible just said, right? verse 6. And the Lord have laid on him the iniquity of us all. So not just some of us, all of our sins got put on this one man, right? He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. You go to the New Testament, when they finally locked him up, they was asking him questions like, who is you? And he ain't answering them nothing, right? So he was oppressed and he was afflicted, but he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter. That's why you eat that lamb on Passover. That's Yahushua, symbolic. As a sheep before the shears is dumb, so he opened not his mouth. Scroll up, please. The water. And he was taken from prison, from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgressions of my people was stricken. Now it's prophesied that he being killed for our sins, right? Even though it already said it. Just like in Daniel. We just read Daniel. The Messiah was cut off. That means died, but not for himself. So he didn't die because of himself, right? So we're again in verse 8. He was taken from prison. That's when they locked him up in chains before the little judge or whatever, and from judgment. Who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgressions of my people, Israel, was he stricken. And he made his grave with the wicked, and with the richest, and with the rich in his death, because he have not done no violence, neither was any deceit found in his mouth. So he ain't even die for nothing he did, right? He ain't have no reason to get killed. He died for us. Verse 10, yet it pleaseth the Lord Yahweh to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul when thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin. This is clearly talking about Yahushua. It don't say his name, but it's talking about him, right? And it's talking about one singular person. He shall see his seed, and he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see the travail of his soul and shall be satisfied. This talking about the Most High. He's saying Yahushua and killed him, he was satisfied because that's one of the reasons he made him. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sins of many and made intercession for the transgressors, which is us. So this is it's plain up on tables. It's clear as day, right? This is Yahushua. This is a prophecy. A prophecy is the Most High saying something before it happened, right? You know, the Most High say, I declare the end from the beginning, right? So this is him telling about what Yahushua had to come, because Yahushua got two comings, right? The first time he had to come and die, and he ain't did no violence, right? That's verse 9. He had done no violence, right? But his second coming, he killing. Let's go to Numbers. Let me take y'all back to the law. Numbers, 1 second. I shall see him, but not now. Go to Numbers chapter 24, verse 17, right? So his first coming, right? His first coming, he died, did no violence. He had to die for us, right? Now this is Numbers chapter 24, verse 17, right? Verse 17. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not now. There shall come a star out of Jacob. Remember Deuteronomy 18:18? I will bring from among your brethren, right? There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a sepulcher shall rise out of Israel. That sepulcher is Yahushua. I'm going to go to Genesis 49 and prove that next. And a sepulcher shall rise out of Israel. He shall smite the corners of Moab. Smite means kill. He shall smite the corners of Moab and shall destroy all the children of Seth. Edom shall be a possession, and Shear shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. Right? So here go a prophecy about Yahushua coming back to kill. Actually, go to Isaiah chapter 60. Isaiah chapter 60. One second. So here go another prophecy. So his first coming, he was coming to he was coming to die. He did no violence, right? His second coming, he coming to kill. Go to Isaiah chapter 63, verse 1. 63. Khan. So boom, we're going another prophecy about Yahushua coming to kill. Who is this that coming from Edom, right? The white man. So here go a prophecy about Yahushua and the white man. Who is this that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? Edom is the people. Bozrah is supposedly their capital, right? This that is glorious in his apparel, travailing in the greatness of his strength. I will speak in righteousness, mighty to I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore thou art red in his apparel. So now his clothes are red. And thy garments like him that treadeth in a wine fat. A wine fat is like a wine press. You get the grapes in there. And you got, let's just say you got on all white linen and you stepping on the grapes. And that's why they call it the blood of grapes. Because when you stepping on it, if you got on white linen, it start to look like you got blood all over your clothes, right? So it looked like he got blood all over his clothes. Verse 3, I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there were none with me. For I would tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. So here go another prophecy about Yahushua, who people call Christ, coming back to kill. He said they blood's gonna be sprinkled up on his garments. Actually, let's see if I'm gonna keep it. What verse was I? Redeemed to come. Okay, verse 5. I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there were none to uphold. Wherefore my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in my anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. So this is Yahushua talking about killing them, right? And that's basically the point I was trying to make. So now you got, was that the last verse in Isaiah 53 also? Yeah, that was the last verse. So these are prophecies about Yahushua coming, right? You got prophecies about Yahushua coming the first time, doing no violence and dying for the nation of Israel only, right? Only for the nation of Israel. Then you got him coming back, his second coming. You say he's gonna crack the sky. He coming to kill. He ain't coming to be the nice guy handing out cotton candy and cream sodas and suckers. That's not happening. He coming back to kill, right? That's your Lord and Savior, right? Lord means master, so he's your master. Only person over him is the Most High. The Most High. That's why I say it's the Most High. You got God's over us, which is Yahushua, but the Most High is the Father, right? Do anybody got any questions or anything that they want to go over? Now is the time.
Oh, yeah, I had a question. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
It's about the prophets. Now, if a prophet's exact date doesn't come to pass, does that invalidate them? Because don't your prayers somewhat put off, like right now, there are so many things happening right now, right? Like the
Uh,
Euphrates River is drying up. Japan just dropped its government. All the governments around the world have pretty much stopped. Joe Biden says now he has COVID. So why all the heads of states stepping down? You know what I'm saying? There's something big afoot. You know what I'm saying? Something really bad is about to happen. You know.
well,
So
well, uh, well, I was going to answer the latter. The initial question was a prophet date, right?
yeah, like you really can't give dates because the Most High doesn't
Exactly.
speak that directly to you. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, I
But
agree with you.
what these prophets are doing is they're saying, I'm thinking September. If I'm not mistaken, this is the Feast of Trumpets that's coming up, correct?
So,
If
so,
the
so, historically, traditionally, with the Bible, the prophets didn't give out dates, right? We
Yeah,
we
and
look
these people
upon a
don't
time,
either.
and
They
actually, though,
yeah,
the date would be a red flag for me, right? So if
yeah,
somebody were to
exactly.
give out a date, that would be an indicator to me because we look up on the times and we know what time it is. Us Israelites, we know what time it is, but nobody has a date. Nobody, he says that nobody knows the hour. You remember the prophets came and said, when he made his came back and transfigured himself, the first thing they asked him, Lord, at this time is will you give the kingdom of heaven to Israel? And he said, it's not. I don't know.
Not for
The
you to know
angels
the time, the season of the Most High. Yeah, he said that.
only the Most High knows. So if a red
Yeah,
flag would be for a mortal man like me and you. If somebody come out, and especially if they ain't an Israelite, that's a real red flag. But if they're an Israelite claiming to be in this truth, and they give a date, that's a red flag. Ain't no dates, right? We
yeah,
all it's a we doing this by feel, right? The great awakening
yeah,
happened. We see all these prophecies coming to pass. That lets us know that this is the time. This is the time you need to be getting yourself right because this grace finna be over. All this finna be over. Everything finna come crashing down. Right now is the time. But if
yeah.
somebody say,
And go ahead, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
No, I
no,
was
no.
going to say
I was done.
Elizabeth's name in Hebrew. If you look at the name Elizabeth, it means grace. She died, so it's like signifying that the grace spirit, the Most I had on earth, is about to end. Like you, I don't know if you've heard about the Great Reset. There's
Yeah, the great
something
reset.
very dark. There's something very dark, very pernicious afoot in the world right now. You know what I'm
I got a
saying?
verse for you.
Uh,
Keep going. No,
something bad is coming forward. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by that is the Euphrates River is drying up, and we know the angel pours out that bowl of wrath on the Euphrates River. And then it said three frogs came out that looked like three spirits came out that looked like frogs, you know. Um you have all the governments of the world that just pretty much just stepped down from office. You have China and Russia. They just said we're going to make our own currency. If they don't deal with America's currency anymore, then our
That's
number
how
one
you
export
know.
is China.
Yeah, because as of any time before 2020, right?
Yeah,
Oil was traded by the USDA, the US dollar, right? Saudi Arabia, Russia,
yeah,
everybody sold oil based on the US dollar. Now Russia, who is the second or third biggest producer of oil and provides all the oil to Europe, they stopped accepting American dollar. China did, and now they're accepting rubles. China even accepted the ruble. So now they're on the other side of the world. Nobody's no longer trading with the US dollar. Like it's a fiat
yes.
currency.
That's
The only
that's
place that it
going.
has like this is the only place that it has value in almost on this earth. Usually you can spend $1. You didn't even have to get it transferred over into another currency. You can go into any country on this earth and just spend $1. It had that much power. And now no one is using $1. As of this year, it just started. Now I got a point because you said something. You got all these prophecies come to pass, and we can see it. It's plain up on tables. Now go to Revelations chapter 12, verse 12.
All right, give me a moment because I'm doing it on the app, so I have to go on my app. Revelations, what?
12 and 12.
12 and 12. Okay. All right. All right. So it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows he has but a short time.
And that's my point about the Great Reset. He's basically pulling out all the stops. If anybody knows about the negative birth rate, like he's already behind the 8 ball. Like he is either now or never for him, right? So he did basically the devil's pulling out all the stops. Everything that he's been planning since Agenda 21 or the 80s or whatever he's been planning, he's pulling out all the stops now, right?
But with
And
but with that said, but with that said though, we have to remember this though. Lucifer does not bring in the last days. The Most High does, because it says,
I agree.
because they would not endure sound doctrine, I, meaning God myself, am going to send forth a great delusion that even the most elect would be deceived if it were possible.
If it
There's
was
something
possible.
about to happen. And then
Exactly.
you're hearing about peace treaties, like they've agreed to split Israel in two, give the Muslims one half and give the Jews the other half. And then Texas just sent 5 red heifers. And that goes back into the sacrificial
Yeah, that's the
system.
revelation. Yeah,
5
that's
red
prophecy.
heifers. Yeah. 5 red heifers to Israel. Why? Like all of this is happening and no one's saying anything. Like no, there's no news coverage. It's just when I'm on TikTok, I follow a certain only the Christian channels, you know what I'm saying? And only the Israelites or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But something really bad is happening. Everyone is in an uprest. Is an unrest in the body of Mashiach. You know what I'm saying? Everyone is in unrest.
You can feel it in your spirit, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You feel it in your spirit. We don't know when it's gonna happen, but we know it's close. We don't, and we that, and this is the reason why you see, because I don't know how long you've been in the truth, Elder, but I've been in the truth for a little second. And 10 years ago, you saying you were Israelite, that was a 3-hour conversation, right? And now we are everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So with the Great Awakening happening and all these because the lockdowns and all this other stuff, and then once he got that control, he ain't trying to give it up, so he's trying to come woe after woe after woe after woe, right? So that's what he's trying to do, right? But I agree with you.
And then this month, Denver just gave away free bumper bags. Bumper bags.
Yeah, Denver was giving away the bags to everybody in the city.
Yeah, like what do you know that we don't know? Secondly, every celebrity canceled their concerts all the way through.
Yep, they tours this
the only thing that's still standing right now is the Whitney biopic. It's supposed to come out in December, but that's it. Everything else has been canceled.
You're right, Elder. You're right. You're 100% right.
I can't say I'm an elder
the dark winter or whatever.
I'm only 33 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm only 33. I'm just presenting stuff that's happening that is very amiss. It's very odd. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you got the eye to see, you see it, right? And even with your statement of whatever the adversary is trying to do, is still by the Most High still doing it all. So even if because most of the stuff in the sky, I think, is the Most High, but then you got Esau trying to put his drones and stuff up there. But even if he does that, the Most High still, because the Most High controls everything. The Most High because even with the lockdowns, the Most High did that. Even though somebody else did it, the Most High gives the decree to do whatever, right?
Yes. So everything that happens on the earth must be approved by the Most High first.
That's right.
And he does it for his glory, not because he's trying to hurt you or do this, that, the third. It's for his glory.
His glory. I got a verse. I got another verse.
You have to remember, he said, all things were made by him, through him, for his purposes. Not our purposes, but his purposes.
And then you can't do nothing against the truth. So even if you think it's against us, it literally coming to the fullness of his ultimate plan. So even if you think it's against us, it's for us. You can't do nothing against this, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree with you. But it's that time. It is that time. And everybody can feel it in their spirit, man or woman, child, even kids can feel it, right? It's a change that already happened. It ain't no more normal. It ain't no more going back to normal, right? Is this and is this going to get worse?
Something bad has really happened.
Yeah.
Like last night, I went to Taco Bell last night, right? And I know you shouldn't be in Taco Bell, but I was starving to death because I was starting I was supposed to start a job, but it didn't come through. But the Most High must have something better for me, or he doesn't even want me to do any of that at all. He's like, I need you to just sit aside right now because there's something that I want you to see. But uh, basically, they're out of all their food items. You know what I'm saying? They're out of food items. They don't have food
And
coming in.
and the auntie was just talking about that, word to the wise, all Israel, stack up on you some water, get you some gallons of water put to the side, get you some rice. It don't matter if it's noodles. If you can't get whatever, you put something up, right? Something. You might have to leave the house. You might have to stay in there with no whatever. And we got to understand, whatever is going to come to us, Israel, accept it with joy. You hear me? Don't shy away from it, because we got to go through it to get to it. We was just reading this. Actually, let's go back.
These are the birth pains. This is birth pains.
Exactly. The woman in travail. That exactly. Yeah. And that's what actually.
But you see, you I don't know if you're aware of this, but this today is supposed to be a very bad dark day in humanity, because it says every the German parliament, the Speaker of the House, like we have Nancy Pelosi, I think is her name. They have their own.
So you got they had like the Congress or they parliament.
And the German parliament just said, via the Speaker of the House, he said September 24th will be a day to remember. He said everyone on Earth will know where they were when this happens. That's very dark.
And then the UK parliament.
What are you talking about?
The UK parliament all stepped down in the same day about a month ago, or about a month and a half ago, right?
So if they're stepping down, who are they expecting to rule all these nations? Are we moving towards that?
You got to understand.
America is the only place that's standing into place.
Well, the Pope just called everybody, because basically they're consolidating powers. That's what's happening, right?
Yes.
So everybody's giving
the
up.
Only country that stands in their way right now.
You see what happened in Australia? Australia locked down their country and then gave up power of their country to the United Nations. Everybody's consolidating power, because basically the war, they finna get ready for war, but you got to understand, like, when you go to war, you got to certain stuff. You can't have a civil war going on within your country and then try to go to war with another country, and then your dollar is finna fall. So they finna try to implement their little plans before the war happens, but it's no guarantee it's gonna happen the way they want it to happen. Then you got to understand, everything is against the children of Israel, right? Even all these wars that's finna happen, we are the key players in all this, with this Russia, this conflict, that conflict, because the moment enough for us wake up, their wars are over, right? They no longer fight against each other. They're gonna turn their guns on each other, from each other, and fight against Yahweh, right? So we are the people, and that's why everybody running around with their chicken's head like a chicken with their head cut off. This is a time when we need to be getting back, doing Deuteronomy chapter 30, coming back to our power, right? Getting ourselves together with him, right? Because this dark winter, this Jacob's trouble, it's finna happen.
Well, can I present something to you? This may seem outlandish, but after all my research over the past decade or so, I'm only 33, but there are three things that I've always been very strong in. And I'm not even from the Bible because I'm very strong in the Bible. It's only because the Most High always was somehow I would find this clip and hear this person speaking. What I do is I sift through everything and try to find the truth. The same thing when it comes to science. When it comes to science, there is something afoot. Like when you like in New York, when you go into Walgreens or CVS, they have this thing where you have to wave your hand by it. You know what I'm saying? At the medical systems, they're making you put your palm on this thing. And now they just blatantly said we're going to roll out, you being chipped. No one knows what this chip does, but however, it's my conjecture that what the great deception will be is my conjecture that what the great deception is going to be is aliens who are not aliens, they're actually fallen angels, because demons. It's going to be demons. Fallen angels don't really get their hands dirty because they're principalities. There is a difference between a demon and a fallen angel. Demons are demons, which are their offspring. Fallen angels are very powerful beings. You remember that when the Prince of Persia was fighting against, that angel, and Michael had to come down and help, or Mikael. Mikael means who but God in Hebrew, right? He came down and had to fight him, you know what I'm saying? Because he couldn't get the message to the guy in time enough, you know what I'm saying? You have that
I ain't
happen.
gonna. But look, hold on, I ain't gonna hold you. I don't subscribe to the fallen angel doctrine. I actually believe the fallen angels are Israelites.
I don't think we're Israel. No, they can't be.
Do okay. Do you subscribe
I
to the
don't
book of
think
Enoch?
I do.
Yeah, that's part of the reason, right? We can have a brief discussion about that. So angels, right? What does the word angel mean?
Well, Melachim in Hebrew means messenger. You are a messenger of the Most High.
Messenger, right? And
Mhm.
Israelites are called angels. Angels, angelic beings are called angels, right? More than
But,
more,
but,
more
but, that, but, that, but that title only means that I could be a messenger. You could be a messenger. It does
right?
not. It does not indicate, what you are.
Angelic
You know what I'm
being.
saying?
Yeah, it
It does
doesn't
not. It doesn't
indicate.
always indicate that. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, like in Job, when it says and Lucifer or Hallel, as his name was at that time, his name was
No,
Hallel, which means cunning.
no. Actually, no,
Cain.
no. Satan, and Lucifer are two different things, right? Satan is a spirit, right? Lucifer is a man, according to the Bible. Lucifer only appears in the Bible one time in the book of Isaiah 14. Lucifer is
Yeah.
a man, right? Satan is a spirit, right? Satan is a spirit. He works for the Most High, right? All the angels in the Bible. So what I would challenge you, or try to see. I would want you to show me one angel in the Bible that disobeyed the Most High, because I can show you all the angels, good or bad, obeying the Most High.
There is, when you say angel, angel is a broad term. There are
Yeah,
classes of,
I know
of
that.
celestial beings. You
So what
have
I would say
seraphim.
is
The
celestial being.
seraphim, the seraphim are the angels that you see where they were. I think it's in Isaiah. I'm not. I could be wrong. I mean, but they circle the throne of the Most High. And they say, "Holy, holy," or Kodesh, 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 Kodesh.
Mhm.
It's called the Trisagia. You know what I'm saying? I remember. I know that happens. You know what I'm saying? But do you know what a seraphim is? It's a winged serpent. Do you
Yeah,
know
I
what a
know.
cherub is? A cherub is a winged bull. There are different
Well,
classes. There's a hierarchy of the celestial beings.
Yahweh Shai is compared to the fiery serpent, right? So I
Mhm.
understand that. But what I'm saying to you is like angels, right? Like it's a verse in
Yeah.
the New Testament said the angels that are locked up for the day of judgment. Those angels are Israelites, right? The book in the New Testament,
But but
when you
but
got
but why do you think that? But why do you think that Israelites
through
can go into the
precepts,
presence of the Most High?
because like even in Genesis chapter 6, the angels, all the time the angels, because angels doesn't denote angelic being, right? So if angels,
Yes.
yeah, 6 and 1. So let's read this.
Angel could mean angel just means messenger. It means you're a
It just
messenger.
means
I can be a
messenger,
messenger. You can
right?
be a messenger. Yeah.
So the seven church that are written to in Revelations, right? That the prophet
Ephesus.
John the
Ephesus.
Revelator,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? John the Revelator wrote to the seven churches. He called them angels, but those are Israelite men, right?
Are the Israelite men? Because the Bible
Yes, the
also says,
churches, those
"Beware."
churches are
It says,
in
"Beware of
Asia
them that
Minor.
say they are Jews, but they are actually the synagogue of Satan." Who do we have in
Right,
Israel right now? People,
but
people,
that's
people that don't match the demographic. The head of the United Arab Emirates said, "The reason why I don't respect the current Jews is because they left black and came back white."
no,
How did that
I
happen?
agree with that. I agree with that. But the seven churches that were set up were they were set up during the whole like New Testament. These are churches that are set up. Are you saying the churches that are set up like in it was a church set up in Egypt, right? So are you
Yeah.
saying the church that was set up in Egypt were not Israelites?
We I can't say that.
Because
I can't say that. What
because
I what,
when it
what's
says
coming what's coming to mind right now is when it said the woman that had to measure the meal, the 3 lumps. In my eyes, I see that being the Catholic Church who at first had a zeal for the Most High. You know what I'm
No, no,
saying? But
no,
then
no.
they
The
brought in
seven,
pagan ideology.
no, but you know the seven churches that are written to in Revelation, those are seven Israelite churches, and he's basically writing to them to try to smooth out some of the problems that they're having.
But Israel was not. But Israel was not only made up of those that were genetically a part of that. People adopted the Israelite faith that came into their camp. Because what did he say? All those that come into your camp must keep Shabbat. That means that foreigners were there. When the Passover
foreigners,
happened,
but yeah, they're like second class citizens though. They're not like there's a hierarchy, right? So even in the land, we can have heathens in the land with us, but there's a hierarchy. They're second class citizens. So even let's just say I had a slave, right? My slave still had to follow the law, statutes, and commandments, right? So my slave can't eat pork. My slave don't work on the Sabbath, right? But it's still a slave. So if I wanted to charge that slave usury, right, I could do that. If I found roadkill, I can't sell it to you, but I can sell it to the person that's within our gates, our borders. They can eat the roadkill. They're not an Israelite. That's lawful. So it's a hierarchy. It's rules that applies to me and you that doesn't apply to them. But the point I was making was when it says in Revelations, I should I'm roughly paraphrasing, but it says, I know your poverty, but you are rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogues of Satan, because you have to understand, like the Herodians, right? Even Ishmael in the book of Galatians, right?
That goes back to the proselyte Jews, people that converted to Judaism, but they were never really Jews.
The proselytes are Israelites. That's according to Acts chapter 2. The proselytes are Israelites. Those are Israelites that just woke back up. Like, so let's just say, I can, because you have Hellenized Israelites. And if those Hellenized Israelites, their grandkids have no idea that they're Israelites. And if they come into contact with Peter or Paul and they get taught that they're Israelites, they're brought back to the fold. Those are proselytes. Those are those people. Those are not like non-Israelites. Non-Israelites are not getting saved. Only us.
So I have a question. So you don't subscribe to the extra? You only use the 66 books, or do you use
80 books?
other extra books?
I use the 80 books. I use the 66 books and 14 books as located in Apocrypha.
But you don't see Enoch or the book of Yashar as, let me say it in its regular term, Chanok or Yashar as actual biblical books.
No, so I'll give you a reason why. So the Bible, right? The 80 books that we got, we can look up those words, right? Because the Old Testament came from the Moabite stone. It came from the Masoretic text. There's some Bibles are even translated Greek Septuagint, right? Then you got the New Testament. The New Testament comes from the Codex Sinaiticus and the Greek. The Greek Septuagint, the Codex Sinaiticus, and
well, I have a question for you. Do you know what
one second. Because those are the texts what it came from. So we can go back to the original text and look up these words and do a comparative translation. We can compare the text, right, and see what it is, right? Even in Aramaic. So you got the Codex Sinaiticus and you got the Textus Receptus, right? So that's where our New Testament comes from. So my question to you is, what ancient text was Enoch translated from?
That is very hard to say, because you have some translations that come from Latin. You have some that come from Hebrew.
No. The book of Enoch was a corner of a page was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, not even a full page, a corner of a page. And that book has 170 or 70 some chapters. And there was literally a corner of a page found with the Dead Sea Scrolls. There isn't an ancient text. There isn't a text, ancient manuscript to go back to do a comparative translation with that. That book just popped up in English in the 1700s, just like the book of Jasher, the original book of Jasher, which is Jasher 1771, which was rewrote, or basically because it was a laughing stock, it was rewrote in 1826. The original book of Jasher. The original book of Jasher. The
Okay,
original
go
book of
ahead.
Jasher said that Moses got the commandments from his wife's dad, which was an Edomite. He didn't get the commandments from the Most High. He didn't get the commandments from Yahweh Shah on the top of the mountain. He got them. He had to get it from a white man, right? You got the book of Jude. You got the book of Jasher.
So what
Hold on.
translation was
I'm
that?
just
But what translation said that?
no. The book of Jasher.
Yeah, but is that a correct translation?
Right, there is no direct translation because the book is only in English. There's no ancient text of this book. There's no ancient text of any of these books. They just popped up in English when we were slaves. That's all that happened with these new books, right? Now, I will challenge you to this because some person will go, oh, the book of Bible says there's a book of Jasher. Well, in Exodus, it says the book of the wars of God. It's this thing that said these things are written in the book of the worlds of God. So all Edomite will have to do is write a book called the Book of the Worlds of God, and you would think that's God's word.
Okay. Well, it's
Right?
my
See, I mean,
conjecture.
using that logic,
Well, it's my conjecture. This is my conjecture. The book of Joshua blatantly puts them in the spotlight as who they really are, the Catholic Church. You know
no,
what I'm
the
saying?
book of
It puts
Jasher, says that Rebecca and Isaac had sex, and Rebecca was 10 and Isaac was 40. That's pedophilia. The Bible does not support that. That's madness.
Well, that depends on the
And
translation of
and
Joshua that you read.
no, it's the book of Jasher. It's the one that's in the app, right? And I go back, so I study all three of the book of Jashers. That's the new Jasher. The older Jasher said we got the law, statutes, and commandments from an Edomite. That goes directly against the Bible. Then
No.
the Bible, hold on. And
So if you already put forth that the Edomites can change stuff, would it not be too
no,
much of a stretch? No. Listen
okay.
first. Would it not be too much of a stretch that they could modify those texts to make you believe something else? Because if you look at the actual translations, that's not what it says.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. There is
like for instance, for instance, in America, we have this whole thing where you have to be 18 to marry or whatnot. That is not how it was done in biblical
no, I agree.
days by the Muslims or by the Jews. Women would get married at 13, 14, 15, you know what I'm saying? And that's with the men. You know what I'm saying? Like we change all that. The
That's
reality is
fine.
once a
Hold
person
on.
is able to
But I will
procreate,
present to you
he
this.
becomes a man.
I will present to you this, right? Because
Okay.
but because it's a moral issue, right? So in the book of Genesis, chapter 26, the last verse, it said the day that Isaac met Rebecca, right? They had sex the day they met, right? So there's no moral time frame where a 40-year-old man can have sex with a 20-year-old girl and that is accepted. It doesn't matter what time frame we're in, right? It doesn't matter if it was 40 million years ago, right? It doesn't matter, right? So morally, right, that contradicts the Bible. The Bible does not say anything like that, but the book of Jasher does. And then you keep saying, it's a translation of that. That's my point. There is no translation of that Bible. Even that book, even the book of Jasher's, all of them are written in English, so there is no translation.
But they
Translation
couldn't have
is,
been written in English wasn't even available at
well,
that
I
time. They were
challenge
written.
you to bring me a book of Jasher that's not written in English with an ancient manuscript attached to it. I would challenge you to
Oh,
do that.
okay. You have to give me time to do that, okay? But I
Con,
will
con,
present it.
con.
Well, what is your email? I will send all my references to your email. Just give me a
Just
chance. I have to find it. If
I'm finna
I'm
put it in the back
wrong,
chat.
if what is a back? Okay, I hear that on Clubhouse too. What is a back chat?
Go to the bottom of the screen, right? And you see the
Okay,
3 dots more.
on what screen? There
Uh,
are only three screens. Like there's no
your
hyperlink
Zoom
or anything.
screen. You see, you got a Zoom screen with like your thing in it, like that screen, right? Go back one
I
more
don't
time.
have.
This screen. You see this screen? Do you have? Go back out of that one more time. Okay.
So go here. Hold on. I'm sorry, bro. You know what?
No, it's fine.
What?
It's fine. Well, just
don't.
write it down. Just write it down. You got something to write with. But
Yeah,
I
of
do
course.
want you to be proficient on the app though too.
I know because everybody's always talking to me on what do you call that app?
Back chat. So look,
Clubhouse,
if you look on the screen, right?
Clubhouse and whatnot, and I'm like, what is a back chat? Hold on.
So look, you see on the screen, and then you see
Yeah.
the participants, and then you see more, right? On your right hand side. Click that more, and then go to chat.
Do that one more time. Like, I don't think I'm gonna get this because I can't see how you're doing this. So I click on the three bars on the left of my screen, right?
On the right bottom right hand corner.
I don't have it. I have three bars and then a circle and then a back button.
Okay, I don't even know.
Well, maybe do you have an iPhone?
No, I'm on the Android. My iPhone upstairs. I think my wife got it.
So maybe iPhone and Android are different, but I know I have
different.
I have a 3-bar right here, but we can't take up the people's time when we doing it. That's what I'm saying.
Don't worry about it. Just write it down. Write my email down.
Can I be heard? I'll
course.
send it to him in text.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Auntie.
That woman right there, that is a true mother in the body of Mashiach. I love that
beautiful
woman,
ain't she? Yeah, that's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, she is beautiful. I love her. She is always there for me through the thick and the thickest. So yeah, I love her.
All praises to the Most High.
But before we got sidetracked by the fallen angels in the book of Enoch or whatever, right? Because we was in agreement about on these last days, right? Now, I ain't want to get off into a doctrinal difference, which we can, right?
Of course.
But so let's backtrack, right? So
yes,
my question to you is, who all can be saved?
Oh, I am on the fence about that. I am still trying to figure that out because on one hand, the Israelites are split in three. You have 1/3 that says that everyone that believes in Yahweh shall be saved. You have another half that says, everybody can be saved, but you'll be a slave to the Israelites. Then you have the other half that says, no, Edom cannot be saved at all. So I'm unsure of where I would stand on that.
I would take the stance of both of the ladders, right? So it's an order to prophecy. So Edomites are done, right? But they still have to serve their slavery, right? So let's go through it. Let me just pick your brain with a couple of verses. Let's just go to this one first. Let's go to the book of Daniel.
Oh, thank you for on the screen because I was like, man, you will find it faster than I can because I have to switch off of this and go find it. And what translation are you using?
I use the King James only because, for the most part, not every single verse, not every single time, but for the most part, it lines up with the translation from the Hebrew, right? But
sometimes it doesn't because sometimes
no, that's why I said
I
said it's for the most part, right?
Okay.
Because I can go in a King James version in Acts chapter 12 and the word Easter is there, and it was translated from the word
Ishtar.
Right?
Ishtar.
But I can go to
Easter is a pagan holiday based on the worship of Ishtar.
Yes, but the word there
says, worship me with none of that.
No, but the word there in Acts chapter 12 is Passat, which is Passover, right? So it's a mistranslation, right? But if I go into, let's just say ESV, right? ESV in that same verse, it says Passover. So that's why we do comparative translation.
But I must ask you now, you do realize the perniciousness and the darkness of these pagan holidays that we have been accustomed to keeping in America, right? The Most High only has 7 high holy days. Those are only celebrations. We are not supposed to celebrate Christmas. Christmas is based off of a pagan holiday. All these are pagan holidays.
The celebration of Nimrod and the sun god, I totally agree. I 100% agree with you. I 1,000% agree with you. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Right?
Okay.
Jeremiah chapter 10. Right? Well, that's you killing off the old man. You gotta get away from all that. Right? And put on.
You have to, because I remember seeing a clip from Dr. Oz. A lady was telling him that she won't let her kids celebrate Christmas. He's like, "Well, you guys celebrate it. Why can't they?" I was like, "You idiot! It's because let me not say idiot because that's being very obtuse. It's because you're worshiping something that is not the Most High. As a matter of fact, there is no scripture in the Bible that says you should celebrate Yahusha's birthday. His birthday was irrelevant. It's what he did when he came here, you know what I'm saying, which was the Passover. He is the perpetual Passover lamb. You know what I'm saying? Everything rides on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what we was going over earlier. I was doing the little Old Testament only cut. Those brothers don't believe in Mashiach Yahushua. They don't believe in Christ. So I was going through the Old Testament and showing prophecies of him coming in the Old Testament, which they can't deal with, like Daniel chapter 9, Isaiah 53, Deuteronomy 18:18, Numbers 24:17. I was going through the prophecies on that.
Exactly,
right?
And but that should even be a point.
It shouldn't, but they are getting taught by the people that stole our identity. So the fake Jews are the ones that's teaching those guys.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. The fact that that the Christ is attacked so much in media, you know what I'm saying? Should prove something to you. Why are they so why are they so ill at ease with the Messiah? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they
Because
lied. The only thing they lie on is him in the Bible, right? They ain't lied on Buddha, they ain't lied on Islam, they ain't lied on nothing, but they done lied on this Bible. They done lied on Yahushua. They done changed this color.
The reason why is because this person asked us to uphold a moral standard. And I have to tell you, I'm coming from a very, very dark world. I was raised in the church and whatnot, and I wanted to be famous. You know what I'm saying? So I did terrible things. I almost did terrible things. The Most High never let me do it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand why. I never understood why my friends, those friends at that time, could get away with things that I couldn't get away with. It's like basically the way my friend that's a member of the body of Mashiach, the way he said it, he said, Eric, in this life, either you will walk to your destiny or the Most High will drag you there. I'm gonna drag you there.
Like Jonah, he ain't want to go preach to Nineveh. So the Most High made a whale swallow him up because he almost died. He then got to swallow by the whale, because he ain't want to.
Yeah.
You just got to follow the Most High will. Hey,
you have to, because it's not when we say in our prayer, it says Avinu Shabbat Shemayim, that is our Father who art in heaven, and then you say, Thy will be done on earth. We're supposed to be praying for the will of the Most High, right?
On earth, because everything in the heavens gonna be manifested back down here, right?
Yeah.
Hey, go. Can you hear me?
Hello? Y'all can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Turn to Daniel chapter 2, verse 44.
Hold on. Let me get there.
I'm gonna pull a couple of scriptures.
Hold on. It takes a while for me to get there. Give me a while. Hold on.
I got you. Daniel 2 and 44. And I'm gonna pull out a couple of scriptures, and I'm just gonna, see what you think about them, right?
Okay, hold on. Let me get there. And I'm very.
It's on the screen too. It's on the screen too.
I want to thank this group for not beating each other down. You know what I'm saying? What I see a lot on Clubhouse is
you went out. You went out for a second.
I said I want to thank this group for not beating their brothers and sisters up because they don't agree with something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, all we're trying to do is just find the truth. You know what I'm saying? So Daniel,
iron sharpens iron, right? Iron sharpens iron. We got to use each other to get better. And you got to understand, even let's just say if somebody don't agree with you and they got the Christian doctrine. It's your job to try to, you know what I'm saying, use the Most High words, get them up out of it. True enough, you can't convince nobody, you can't convince every person, but you just got to do your job. But us as teachers, we got to have the patience and understanding that we used to be where they at. And if somebody treated us like that, we probably wouldn't even be in the truth right now. So you got to have that patience and understanding.
Exactly.
And you remember when Yahushua said, if you offend one of these little ones, right? Them little ones are people that just came into the truth, right? Or just waking up.
Bro.
You know, you a babe for 3 years in the truth, right? Around 3 years. So you can't just be treating them any kind of way and talking to them in any kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Because if you offend one of them babes, the Most High is gonna treat you like you did it to him. Yahushua gonna treat you like you did it to him. Right.
Yeah.
So we on that type of temperature. We ain't trying to beat each other. And then we got enough people beating us down, right? We need to build each other up, right?
Yes, because African Americans, we are truly crabs in the barrel. I'm gonna present some injustice to you right now, right? So basically, I'm in a group home right now, right? It's for people that have mental health disorders, right? Mm-hmm. It's been said that I have bipolar disorder. I don't subscribe to that. What I see is I went against the Most High's will and I experienced strife. Anytime you want to live incongruent with what the Most High wants, you will experience strife, and it could be all manner, or sometimes it may not be, but sometimes, but in some cases, you will experience strife, right?
Well, if you go against the Most High, you is gonna go through some stuff.
You will because it's like swimming against the tide. The Most High. Basically, the way I see it is that we are all on a pre-recorded track individually, right? And if you don't sing the song that's on your track, you're going to be in trouble. You know what I'm saying? You got to sing the song that he gave you to sing. You know what I'm saying?
Play the hand you dealt, so to speak.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Play the hand you dealt. Exactly. And so because I was unwilling to, submit to that, I experienced terrible strife. I'm still struggling. You know what I'm saying? I'm still
when the last time you read the book of Jonah? Put that in your Sabbath rotation. Put that in your Sabbath rotation, because what you just explained is what happened with him, right? So put that in your Sabbath rotation.
Yeah.
The book of Jonah. That's it's very powerful, because what the Most High got for you, you can't just say, I ain't go on your own road and on your own tangent.
Well, you don't have a choice in the matter. Like no, you do have a choice.
That's predestined, right?
Well, you do have a choice, and that's the thing, that we as bodies of believers in the Most High, we think that we actually have a say so when we don't. I mean, like we do. And if you do, then you're going to experience strife. Like today, when I'm gonna give you an example, 2 examples. So I went to this group home, right? This woman is an Alpha Kappa Alpha, right? Which a lot of my cousins are, right? My female cousins, right? And my aunt is even an Alpha Kappa Alpha. My mom's older sister is AK. And they don't realize, well, a lot of these people don't realize it. They don't realize all fraternities are inherently evil, because what does Matthew say? Matthew says, let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. When you make oaths, you are signing yourself on to something that you don't want to deal with. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, it's a covenant. We're not to make no oaths or no covenants with anybody else. So it's actually
exactly
make a covenant with others.
Exactly.
That's a Torah.
But look, this is okay. So in Social Security, we get, well, Social Security for them is lower than mine, but basically you get like $840, right? She takes $700 from them, right? After she gets paid $5,000 from the state for them, right? These people will never be able to garner any type of success for themselves with just $140 a month. You know what I'm saying? That's right, so if they have that.
That's like being between a rock and a hard place, with a double straights, right?
Yeah. Almost definitely, big bro. Hold on, big bro. Let me see. How do I put this app on speakerphone? Because my Bluetooth died, so I have to keep. I don't want to keep the phone to my ear because it's like radiation or whatnot. So I don't want to. Yeah.
I don't even know, because I don't even know. I don't know. Don't give me the line. I don't know.
Hold on. Give me 5 seconds. Let me try.
Shabbat Shalom, Auntie.
Shabbat Shalom.
How you doing?
I'm here in St. Louis. I'm over here with Chris and his baby.
Who is?
Had a little baby boy.
Well, I'm gonna call you back later. I'm gonna see if me and Punky gonna pull up on you.
Okay.
Yeah, pull up on you, say hi, what's up. See what it is, what it ain't. But I'm gonna call you back later on that tip. I ain't know you was down here.
Yeah.
The blowing of memorial, blowing the trumpets tonight. It's a high holy day, so.
Yeah. I'm gonna re-listen to the whole thing because I had missed I was still asleep.
But shit, you still observe the Sabbath. That's what's up. How long you down here for, Auntie?
Negotiating with the kids. They'll remember I'm not even living here. They want me to leave my house.
Yeah, they miss you, Auntie. They miss you. So look, I hope you're successful though, Auntie. Whatever you trying to do, because all you trying to do is y'all trying to get around each other. So I hope that happen. You hear me? Everything else that.
You say what?
However it happen, how y'all get around each other, I hope it happen.
Yeah, I'm just hoping I can put a little bit in their ear while I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
I'm already here.
We already, seeing everything. Because Eric was sending me the stuff talking about the government shut down last night. So I went out there and I was looking and I was like, wow.
Yes.
But it's not
around the time. You know what time it is.
Because you're right, because we've been looking at the news.
Talk to your kids, let them know, right? Now see what time it is. Everybody see it. Let's just keep it funky. Everybody see
it. Right. You say keep it funky, right.
Everybody see it. You gonna Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder can see what's going on here. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it's not saying you have to live
need each other
every day, like you don't get to enjoy a movie or friends coming over and all that stuff. We're just being mindful of what's going on in the world and what I'm saying, what you have to do, what you should be preparing yourself for to be in line with the Most High.
That's right.
You don't want to be on the bottom level here right now on this earth and then heaven come down and then what?
And then we on the bottom in that society.
Yeah, we're in the bottom of that society. And then all of these celebrations and stuff. I've been in the church my whole life. No ever have I ever heard that the Most High gave us holidays, celebrations.
like what Bible was they reading from? For real, you hear me?
Well, now we know that it was an agreement with the government that we don't know a lot of things. So
501c3s.
Right, exactly. And it was about that 501c3 exactly. But we know now that we celebrate and how the Messiah came on the scene. It seemed like that's us. We celebrate, we potluck, we love on each other, we listen to music. You know what I'm saying? We tell our kids what they need to do as far as the rules, which is our Bible.
Right. Because it ain't no set way. We ain't got to sit here and be holier than thou. Right. No, our rules are following the law, statutes, commandments, and keeping the faith. We can be who we are, the beautiful people we are. We ain't gotta be put on this fake facade. We ain't gotta do none of that. But I hope you can distinguish the two and tell them what you gotta tell them, but still have y'all fun too.
Right. That's Tiara is on here, my daughter.
That's her daughter. Have she been in one of the rooms in her classes?
I think she was in here with you before, and the one at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I believe she was in this one. Tiara, you been in this one before? Because last time she was on, her mic wasn't right.
No, I have taught her. It was like a month ago, something like that. She was in one.
Yeah, because she was like, whoa, I ain't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, we are Israelites.
We are Israelites, right?
Yes, we are.